And they always got these. And they always having fun.
So we don't really know what we're doing here, but I'm happy to take any questions. Dan's over there if you have any questions for him. And oh yeah, some house lights would be great to see everyone. Maybe I'll just tell you a bit about this patch. I was really like into Rainmaker for a bit, so I'm like randomizing a lot of the parameters there, along with every kick drum hit, sending shapeshifter through it just to get like a bunch of texture and atmosphere going. BIA is the kick. Got some samples loaded into these Pico drums. Everything's kind of mixed through the quad VCA and compressed with the jelly squasher. The little like plinky bell sounds at the end were from Plonk. Yeah, that's kind of like the foundation of everything. Digiverb, great little verb on the clap sounds, and Noise Tools is kind of modulating a couple elements. And Chance is sort of also being triggered with every kick drum hit to modulate a few Rainmaker and shapeshifter parameters. But that's kind of the deal. Happy to take any questions if you guys have them. No, that all made sense? This was like a two-part thing really for me, where I didn't talk about sequencing, but I have Pamela and Variegate in here, and so I kind of had one sequence set up with Pamela's new workout and another with Variegate, and that's why kind of halfway through I was repatching a bit to get the same voices being triggered by a different sequencing module. So yeah, it was kind of a two-part thing. No idea if that's how it came across, but yeah.
Have you been stopped in the airport on the security control with your modular?
You know what? I decided to unpatch it before going through, and they did pull me aside, and I was like, it's a musical instrument, and they were fine with that. Yeah. But I thought all the cables might cause some problems. Yeah, Jelly Squasher here. That's something that I really like having in my case. Compression and reverb are two things that I always have, just because I guess I'm coming from a music production background, and I find that those things can just glue things together. Putting things in the right space, compressing and reverb just really kind of make something sound like a track. So that's something that I always kind of prioritize. Although I'm just using Jelly Squasher just as like a compressor, there are elements of it that you can modulate, and that's not something that I've experimented with. But I don't know, maybe that's something that you might want to speak to, Dan. But oh no, it's a real compressor. It's an analog compressor. But yeah, I don't actually find I have many reasons to like modulate my compression.
Yeah, we kind of we wanted to make it fully modular so that it was in the spirit of modular. In retrospect, I'm not sure we really needed to break out all those controls. And most people, including ourselves, we find that we use the Jelly Squasher more as a creative tool, like especially the distortions and things on it. We put a lot of time into those. And in something like this, it's a great way to add like a bit of character and grit to stuff. But with all the rhythmic elements, you could have been modulating things like attack or ratios, and sometimes you would get some surprising results, especially against users that way.
Yeah, the one thing that I might do is for different sections of a track, I'll like need to change the threshold, and that is something that maybe you want to automate in conjunction with something else you have going on in your patch, but also you can like reach for the knob if that's easier. Pardon me? I did not in this patch, yeah. But you can, there is a side chain option there. Hey.
Did you tweak the sequencers live, or did you just tweak the output of the sequencer? So the sequencer is running
same pattern all the tracks through? Or?
Yeah, the sequences I already set up and I just let them run, though they have some probability built into them. So Pamela, there's like a whole bunch of steps that it'll skip from time to time, and then one of its channels is generating a random wave, which, let me see if I can get it playing actually. I'm using one kind of random stepped wave in Pamela to set the rate of another channel that is sequencing this. It's like a kick drum, but it's being pitch shifted and it's being triggered at a whole bunch of different beat divisions, and the beat divisions are set randomly. And that's just kind of a background element that I wanted to have in there. But yeah, a lot of the other stuff it was preset, but with different kind of random probabilities built into most of the, I think everything other than the clap sound had some random to it. This one was BIA. I also, in a previous iteration, when I was kind of preparing this patch, I was using plonk as the kick drum, and then I realized I wanted it to kind of play this bell sound. The kick was the BIA in this final patch. Yeah. That's a good question. This one was mostly in my brain, but what was saved? So the Rainmaker, you can save presets. Shapeshifter, you can save presets. And the Pico drums that I have here. Oh, and Plonk too, yeah. Those are like certain presets that I can dial up that already have a configuration of a sound or of an effect setting that I want. And then other than that, yeah, here I was just remembering, you know, which channels needed to trigger which voices and which modulations were connected to which parameters. I think 5 voices total. So we had a kick drum, we had a snare that I later adjusted over, or a clap that I later adjusted over to a snare. There was a hi-hat and the plonk kind of bell sound, and then the shapeshifter kind of delay atmosphere stuff. You know what, it's just mono. I would love to do stereo, but I just didn't fit a proper stereo mixer into my rig here, because I have everything going into the Jelly Squasher for compression, and so then it went to mono. But yeah, when you can get stereo out of some of these reverbs or like the Rainmaker delay, it's really great sounding. Yeah, this is just just the left channel out. Yeah, for intense sample manipulation, you know, I have to say that's definitely an interest of mine, but I haven't delved as much into it. The sampling modules that I have that I use that aren't in here right now are like the STS from 4MS, and I have a Phonogene, which is fun for mangling stuff. But yeah, other than those, like mostly when I am treating stuff, it's more about the effects that I use. And Rainmaker has been a big one for me in terms of just being able to put something in and completely transform it. Like I could put like a blip sound in there and make an ambient album, you know? So it's really been more about kind of effects processing for me so far than mangling like at the source of the sample. Yeah, so I am interested in a lot of different types of music and a lot of different approaches to making music. So modular is kind of just one of those approaches, and I try to I like to think that I would choose the best tools for the job. So a lot of my interest in modular is to get into this kind of generative sort of IDM and sometimes ambient kind of realms. But like, you know, I do some singer-songwriter kind of stuff, and I'm happy to just pick up a guitar or a ukulele. But I will say that, you know, since getting into the kind of the hardware side of things, that has really taken over a lot of that kind of experimental electronic part of my production, where I used to make music like this just on my laptop and with a lot of editing, and it was, you know, just a much more work-intensive process. And now it's so much more fun to kind of be able to explore it live and just set up something that's just going to keep on making stuff alongside you, rather than having to you know, edit every little part. But that's also a different approach that sometimes might still be applicable.
But I also meant if you are mixing modular with additional.
Okay, yeah. I guess I haven't done too much where I've mixed the worlds together. There's been one or two tracks that I've started on the modular that ended up feeling like, oh, maybe I'll want to sing on top of this, and in that case, I'll multi-track it out. I don't have it in my case, but I use the Expert Sleepers ES8 to send individual tracks to Ableton, and so that's usually like I get a performance out of the synth, and then I might do some editing, and then I'll add any other layers that I want to add. So it definitely kind of, once it leaves the synth, I probably won't be coming back there. I'll be in the DAW to continue working on that type of a track.
How are you using the Rainmaker? More like a surprise box, like pressing things and seeing what comes out of it, or do you just study it before and to get some predictable results?
Yeah, you know, the Rainmaker, it's like a really, it is deep, but it's actually, I found pretty easy to understand. What's deep about it is just how much you can do with it, because you can set each of the 16 delay taps, you know, to have their own time, their own filter, all these different parameters. So I do really enjoy just using it with this like randomization kind of trigger setup, and that's what it was in this patch, to just kind of instantly shift to different spaces and textures. But it's really great if you want, you know, if you have a specific delay effect in mind that you want to dial up, and it's a lot easier, let's say, than having another effect where you get like time and feedback, and you're just kind of playing between those parameters. If you have something that you specifically want to do with delay, or with the comb filter as well, it sort of gives you a really fine control over all the parameters. Yeah, so I had the pitched stuff. I had the kick drum set at a specific pitch that didn't change for the patch, and then Plonk was being quantized by the variegate. There I had a minor scale set, and it was only triggering those quantized pitches for Plonk. And I do have a micro scale as well that I'll use to if I have kind of unquantized CV that I want to put into a particular scale. Those are kind of the ways that I've gone about it. But yeah, I think for me, if I want to create something with very specific pitch information, I'm usually doing that more in the DAW still, just because I'm faster at that, you know, just entering stuff in a piano roll. And then I guess, you know, there are ways to interface that with the modular. But yeah, when I'm in this world, I'm sort of more interested in surprising myself, I guess, yeah. All right, I think we're running out of time. Maybe one more question? All right. Thanks so much for being here. I'm going to be floating around the festival, so if you want to say hi, I'd love to chat with you. Thanks a lot.